to be educated, but I'm so frustrated.
Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Hope you guys are doing all right. Tonight we're going to get into more of that real funk that you've been asking me for.
You mean stank face funk?
That kind of funk.
Bob your head, break your neck funk?
Yeah, that kind of funk.
Couldn't reach the toilet in time funk?
Anyway, we're going to get into something that redefined what was popular funk at the time. You know, you had the James Brown stuff come along, and then we had these newer groups, Kool and the Gang, Ohio Players, and people like that, and they kind of changed things a little bit. But then came along a young group of fellas out of Dayton, Ohio. One of the reasons that we call it the land of funk. These young kids were teenagers, and they brought out something that changed the game, redefined, had me growing up playing instruments because of what they did, had me joining bands, and that's all we wanted to play was their music. Slave, the group was called Slave. We're going to get into it right now. If you don't know anything about it, you're going to learn something about a new kind of funk that came along, and it changed people like Cameo and other groups like that. They benefit from what these guys did. Hang around. Now, let's talk about how that magic came together. Slave was born out of Dayton, Ohio during the mid-70s. The group came together and formed with trombonist Floyd Miller, trumpeter Steve Washington, bass player Mr. Mark Adams, rhythm and lead guitarist Mark Drac Hicks and Danny Webster, sax players Thomas Lockett Jr. and Orion Bimmy Wilhoit, along with keyboardist Carter Bradley and drummer Tim Tiny Dozier. They originally started out as separate local groups, such as the Black Satin Soul, Young Mystics, and even Congress at one point. But those names were feeling a little corny to most of the fellas, and they were looking for something different and perfect for this new band. Then one day, they would find it and change everything.
Floyd Miller, one of the horn players, he came to rehearsal with a shirt on, and it had Master on the front and Slave on the back. And as soon as we saw that shirt, we said, yeah, okay, that's gonna be our name. Everybody's a slave to their environment and the world. It was more feasible to use it that way than the negative connotation.
So they would boldly roll with the name Slave, and they scored their first big hit with this single. Yeah, man, Slide, in 1977 for Cotillion Records, which is the label they remained with until 1984. Floyd Miller says Slide really didn't mean all that much. They were just jamming with it, experimenting, building a sound from scratch. Slide? It was something that just came out of thin air. They weren't trying to write a lyrical masterpiece, and it hasn't really had a meaning, but it was more or less an emotion. But I can tell you, it did create a new dance in the streets for it. The story behind the recording is almost mythical. The band went up to New Jersey to record their debut album, but Slide wasn't quite ready yet.
Me and Floyd was upstairs. We had a little bit too much bourbon. The rhythm section, the band, was just downstairs. They were, just practicing. And me and Floyd, all of a sudden we heard something. We were waking up and we're like, what is that? It was Slide. And we went in the next day, and the very first song that we recorded was Slide, and it was one take. The rhythm section, the solo, Drac solo, everything that you hear on Slide was from one take, the very first take that we came in.
One take? Man, that's why it hits so raw, so alive, like a party on wax, and most of all, just funky. And speaking of funky, let's talk about that signature sound, that doggone iconic bass line, y'all. Mark Adams locked that bottom end tight. This young brother was only 16 at the time of recording. Yep. Sliding up and down the neck, slapping, plucking like a seasoned pro. Just rumbling like a funky earthquake, creating a groove that makes the whole track move and should be listed in the bass guitar handbook for funk grooves. Now, the rhythm guitar of Danny Webster hangs outside on the edge of the groove, while the keys of Carter Bradley give your mind a minor seventh flavor to feel while you're dancing. For you who are still trying to figure out funk, there it is, homie. Cranking out that syncopation that makes sure you know it's there. And the horns? Man, they aren't just there for decoration. They creep in on you like a small freight train, and later get sharp, syncopated, and layered, building that punch and excitement you feel in your chest. The four-man horn section of Floyd Miller, Steve Washington, Thomas Lockett, and Orion Wilhite knew exactly when to push, when to tease, and when to hit you right in the head. All that was a groove by itself, but then a 17-year-old Drac Hicks comes it with a guitar solo, sounding like a baby Jimi Hendrix. "17, y'all." And here's where he took the tune into a David Gilmour mode. Screaming, expressive, and a little wild, but perfectly in line with the groove. It wasn't overplayed, it was felt. Every note synced with the bass line, keys, and the drums. But the real energy would have to come from Tim "Tiny" Dozier, the timekeeper, and what he could do with the kick, snare, and hi-hat. Oh yeah, it sounds simple, but that's pocket. You can't get in the way of all the other moving elements. He's got to know his place. But Tiny gets his moments on those pickups to get back in the groove, right back to the pocket. Hey, that's just how a good funk drummer does his job, and keeps his job. And the vocals? These fellas were taking turns, hollering at you like a DJ, giving instructions to the people on the dance floor. And I can't forget about that little bicycle horn you hear. It wasn't some random gimmick, it was Stevie Washington adding that playful touch that became iconic. Man, that thing became their signature, and believe it or not, it got its own personal stand on stage. And that bass growl at the start? It's not just a sound, it's a declaration. When you heard it, you knew not only that the funk was coming, but a party was about to start too. A fun mood, and a feeling coming you couldn't ignore.
All of us, I will say. We were creative in our own rights, and what made Slave special was we allowed everybody to be what they were. And we didn't play everything, quote, musically correct, but we vibed together, and that's how we made things happen.
But Slave's sound changed slightly when Steve Arrington joined the band. That's when we got a more mellow funk in tunes like Watching You, Just a Touch of Love, and others. Now, you've got to understand the environment in Dayton at the time. Like I mentioned in my Land of Funk video, these cats weren't just a band, they were part of a scene where every group pushed each other to get better. They grew up with music in schools, with bands competing in the parks and gymnasiums. It was about the music, their greatest weapon of unity. And you can hear that unity in Slide. It's why the song went to #1 on the R&B charts, hit the pop chart, and made the debut album go gold. And here's something I want you to really catch. Slide isn't just a song, it's a blueprint for funk. The interplay between horns, rhythm and bass, the energy of the drums, the raw emotion in the vocals, all tied together in a single jam session that became a hit. It's a lesson in musicianship. It's what gave Dayton its funk reputation, setting the stage for a new era, a masterclass in funk, and the world took notice. Yeah, man, that's that redefined funk in your face. Slide, that bass line, Mark Hans Soler. I didn't forget. They call him Hans Soler along with Mr. Mark and a few other names. Man, that dude did it. Search the internet. Make sure you listen to that whole song and you'll see what redefined the funk game. But the sad thing is, at this point, only 3 of the original members of the band are still alive. Steve Washington, Floyd Miller, and Thomas Lockett. The rest of the guys, they've gone on to soul heaven, funk heaven, whatever you want to call it. But what they left behind, man, they will continue to play at every real party if it's a real party. Hope you guys appreciate that, and I'll see you next time on the Music Mindset channel. Hang in there.